Hello students, welcome to my class. I, Dr. Swati Pandya, welcomes you. Welcome to the new session. Let us see the structure of microsporangium. The same structure, it is explained here. The transfer section of mature anther that is described here, and in this diagram we are able to see this structure. Actually, if we see the detailed structure of this mature anther, we are able to see four parts. They are: first is outermost is epidermis, followed by endothelium, followed by middle layer, and lastly tapetum. All the names they are indicated here in the diagram. This is epidermis, endothecium or endothelium, it's one and the same thing, then middle layer, and lastly tapetum. If we see the more detailed structure, you can see the more detailed structure in B diagram, and here you are able to see the importance of all these layers. The first three, outer three layers, they perform the function of protection and help in dehiscence of anther to release the pollen. When the pollen gets matured, it helps in the dehiscence of pollens. The tapetum, which is the innermost layer, this portion it is showing, this whole portion it is showing the tapetum layer. You can see the red colored nucleus. It nourishes the developing pollen grain, and in the inner side it is filled with the sporogenous tissue. So this part that is filled with sporogenous tissue, here it is given. So the center part, it is filled with the sporogenous tissue. Let's see the process of microsporogenesis. We can say this microsporogenesis, it comprises of two words, microspore and genesis. The formation of microspore is known as microsporogenesis. Microspore, I think this term you recall from your 11th standard when we have learned about all the different phylums of plants, basically gymnosperms, angiosperms, because they are the flower bearing plant group. So in gymnosperms, we are very much familiar with the word microspore, megaspore, microsporophyll, megasporophyll. So here microspore indicates the male reproductive structure. So here how it is formed? The definition is the process of formation of microspore from pollen mother cell. In short, it is known as PMC, pollen mother cell, through the process of meiosis is known as microsporogenesis. So basically the cell division of which type? Meiosis type participate always in reproductive cells. You all know that. Now let us see the two structures. Let us see the detail of two structures which are given here. This is microspore tetrad, and this is the vegetative cell as well as generative cell which is shown. Actually, this is the enlarged view of pollen grain tetrad here, and the B part that shows the microspore maturing into pollen grain. Each here in the pollen tetrad, each cell will develop into a pollen. Now let us see, if we see the developed matured pollen, you are able to see the two parts, vegetative cell and generative cell. So this part, vegetative cell, some of the features for vegetative cells are, it is bigger, it has abundant food reserve and large irregularly shaped nucleus. So this part, it comprises of vegetative cell, and the lower part, it follows generative cell. It is a very small and it floats in the cytoplasm of the vegetative cell, as well as it is spindle shaped. So this shape, it is showing the generative cell spindle shaped, which is having dense cytoplasm and nucleus. During microsporogenesis, the microspore as they are formed are arranged in a clusters of 4 cells which are known as microspore tetrad. This structure we are talking about. As the anthers mature and dehydrate, the microspores dissociate from each other and develop into pollen grains. So in this way, the pollens they are formed. Inside each microsporangium, several thousands of microspores or pollen grains are formed, which are released with the dehiscence of anther. Now let us talk about the structure and detail of pollen grain. Actually, the pollen grains represent the male gametophyte, the main male gametophyte, which is produced from the male reproductive part of the flower, that is stamen. One of the example is given here, hibiscus, as well as any other flower. We find the dusty particles or yellowish powdery, just dust, similar to dust particles, which are known as actually pollen grains. When we touch any of the flower part, some dusty particles, they stick to our fingers. They are nothing but they are pollen grains. Even we can make the slide. In practicals, you must be following this practical for making the slide for pollen grains. Even the germination of pollen grains we will also learn. Now let us see the detail of structure of pollen grain. If we see the structure of pollen grain, the diagram shows different parts. The vegetative cell and generative cell, we have just discussed about these two parts. When it gets matured, it comprises of 4 parts: shape and size. Let us discuss about shape and size. Pollen grains are generally spherical in shape and they measure about 25 to 50 micrometer in diameter. Then it has 2 prominent layers. The names are exine and intine. Exine is the outer layer, intine is the inner layer. So this outer layer, it is hard and it is made up of a special chemical which is known as sporopollenin, which is the one of the most resistant organic material known. And the speciality of this material is it can withstand high temperature and strong acids as well as alkali. And even no enzyme can degrade this sporopollenin. That is why pollen grains can act as the fossils also, because no chemical can damage this sporopollenin and they can remain as such. Let us talk about inner layer, intine. Intine, it is the inner layer. It is thin. It is continuous layer which is made up of cellulose and pectin material. The cytoplasm of pollen grain is surrounded by a plasma membrane. Here, at some places, in next diagram you can see. So this is the hard red colored structure. It is showing exine here. It is followed by a continuous layer, intine, here, and at some places this is a gap where no exine is present. You can see here the name is given aperture. Actually this is known as germ pore. When the pollen gets matured, when they settle on the stigma, these pollens, they germinate and reach up to the ovary to fertilize. So this layer, it is a continuous layer, intine, and germ pore. These structures are germ pore. Exine has prominent apertures called germ pore where sporopollenin is absent. Here at the germ pores, the sporopollenin is absent. That is why only the pollen, it can germinate through these regions. Now some important points are given regarding pollen grains. So directly we will point out them. First point is pollen grains of many species cause severe allergies and bronchial afflictions in some people, often leading to chronic respiratory disorder known as asthma or bronchitis. You might have observed many people, they sneeze. Due to presence of pollen grains in the atmosphere also, certain allergic reactions are shown by them. Even it is mentioned in our book that the Parthenium, which is also known as carrot grass, it came into India as a contaminant with imported wheat, and it has become ubiquitous in occurrence and cause pollen allergy. So this is actually one of the thing which is given. Next, certain important things about pollen products. In your book, it is given certain pollen products, the diagrams they are shown. So pollen grains actually they are rich in nutrients, and even the insects, the honeybees, the wasps, the beetles, many times they consume them, the pollen grains. The flowers they are attracting the insects, and some of the insects or some of the creatures, organisms, they come for to eat the pollen grains. And even in western countries, large number of pollen products in the form of tablets and syrups they are available in the market, and they are consumed by the peoples. Sometimes it is used for improving the performance of athletes and race horses. Now let's discuss about the last point. Can you tell me that how long the pollen grains they are viable? Have you ever think about it? Actually, the period of which the pollen grains they remain viable is highly variable from species to species, and it depends upon the temperature, humidity, and many other factors also. In some of the cereals such as rice and wheat, pollen grains lose viability within 30 minutes of their release. So it's a very short time. But in some other members of the family like Rosaceae, in which the rose plant it is included, in Leguminosae, where all the legume plants they are included, and Solanaceae, which is also known as potato family. So within these, the plants they maintain their viability for months. So few months the pollens they remain viable. But now some of the techniques they are being developed. It is possible to store pollen grains of large number of species for many years in liquid nitrogen, that is in minus 196 degrees centigrade, and such stored pollens can be used as pollen banks, which is similar to seed bank or money bank. You are more familiar with this term, money bank. And these pollens they are useful in crop breeding programs, and actually this technique is known as cryopreservation, and the same term you will be come to know within few chapters afterwards. Most probably in biodiversity chapter this term will again come. So this is an important term to remember. So today we have learned about the structure of stamen, the development of pollen, and some of the important things regarding pollens. Today we will end this session here only. I hope you understand well, you revise timely all the things, and even the highlighted terms they are important to learn. So that is why you do write the definitions in your classwork or your practice book, and soon we will be again meeting with the next topic regarding the pistil, which is the female reproductive part. And I will end this session today. We will meet in the next session. Till then, stay safe, stay home, and take care.